again, this is the fourth episode of our Playmaker to C# tutorial, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to set up a level using a certain asset that we have downloaded on Asset Store. You can search for Grassroot Race, and this is a free asset, so you can just download right away and then import to your project. I have imported mine here in the project, and also we are going to set up how to create the coin as an item. Okay, so now we need to set up the ground first. So I'm going to go to our Grassroot Race folder and go to the prefabs, and here I'm going to disable our cube object, and then I'm going to drag a ground here. But before, I'm going to create a new empty game object, and I will make this game object to be the group of our environment. So let's do that. I've reset the transform, and then I rename this to environment, and we can drag this prefabs here, the first ground, to be the child of our group here, environment game object. And then for this ground here, we need to reset the position first. So we have centered the object here to 0 0, and then turn the y-axis to a 90°, and under the scene we can adjust this position. So maybe we need to put it here, and let's align this with its our character's feet. And then as you can see here, the prefabs consists a couple of objects inside of its hierarchy. So we need to search for the collider, and apparently the one that has the collider is the ground, the child object named ground. And here, as you can see, we have the box collider, so we need to change this to ground. If we don't do that, then our script, the player C# will never know whether the player is on the ground or not. So we cannot jump, and there will be something wrong with the animation. So make sure to do that first, and then after we done that, you can just duplicate this ground. So go back to the parent object, which is the ground 0 1, and then press Ctrl D to duplicate it, and then you can move this sideways. But in order to make sure that it snaps perfectly with the first object, we can hold V on the keyboard and then drag this so it snaps. And you can just create another ground here, duplicate this, and then hold V and and then snap that to the vertex here, to the second one. So we have a perfect align. And why we have to set the tag first? So when we copy the object, the other object will already have the correct tag, so you don't have to reassign the tag every time you put a new ground on the scene. And as you can see here, the edges are hollow, so we need to I think we need to use not that one, but I think it's this one. Yep, ground 4, ground 4, and drag this to our environment here. And as you can see, it will I don't know why but it is positioned automatically quite far, so we need to reset the transform. And then I'm going to rotate the Y value to a 90°, and here I'm going to hold V, select the edge here, and then I'm going to snap to the most further ground here, and then we duplicate this again, and we can rotate this to a -90°, and make sure we close this part here, this side here. So press V, hold, and snap it here. So we have a perfect aligned ground. And make sure that the ground 4, also the child object ground, has a tag of a ground, and then the other one also have a tag of ground. So make sure that all of this ground here has a tag of ground. Okay, but I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to import I'm going to put the prefabs that I have prepared for the environment. It's quite simple like this, and it has the wave prefabs as the ocean here, and I put a couple of tree, and I've created two platform or two type ground, and you can do jump here. So okay, I'm going to save the scene and then let's continue. Okay, let's try this. Let's play, and we can move. As you can see, we can move nicely, but once there is this behavior where if you move, you won't your player will not stop running. So we can check on our player C#. As you can see, the on ground is stays false, but let's click again. Yeah, it stays false. Why this happen? Why did this happen? Okay, I'm going to show you. The problem lies that our ground is consists of separate object, and each of the ground has each collider. So what that means is whenever our player goes from the one ground to another ground, it will leave the first collider, but somehow it never enters. Maybe because it's the glitches that happens, but we can fix this easily just by opening our C# script. And the problem is we are using on collision enter. So with the on collision enter methods, it is always when we are entering the ground only once. So maybe we enter the object, and then somehow while entering, and then next we are exiting the other one. So when we exiting the other one, we are accidentally resetting the false object. So in order to fix this, we can change the on collision enter to on collision stay. And what on collision stay does, actually, it always execute this code whenever we are colliding with other objects. So it's like an update, but it is based on collision. So when we are collided with something, this will get execute every frame, just like update. So with these changes, we are going to make sure whenever we are hitting the ground, set this to true. But for jumping or for exiting, we don't need to change the method here. So I'm going to save this, and let's go back to the Unity and let's try this. Okay, so we can see the on ground variable that it's working, and we can jump. Okay, and then when we go to the other ground, as you can see, the on ground stays true, and this fixed the issues before, as you can see. So now we can stop animation, and then we can always jump, and we can jump to the other ground here, as you can see. Now we have a quite nice platformer with a cute environment. So let's create a coin now. I'm going to create a new object, a cylinder, and put this onto the middle, and I'm going to scale the object on the y-axis to a small value, let's say 0.1, and then I'm going to rotate this on the x-axis to a 90-degree value, and I'm going to make the scale smaller on the x-axis, also on the z-axis. So we have an object, but this is too small, so let's make this bigger. Okay, and let's make this even smaller, the width. And now we are going to create a parent object, or we can just leave this. And okay, next we need to create a new script, so let's do that. Create a coin script, and then let's open the script. So basically what we want to do with the coin script is we want to make sure that the coin is rotating every frame. So let's set a new variable float of rotate speed, and then set the value to a 90 degree, and we are going to make sure that the rotation will be happening per second, so it means it's 90 degrees per second. So it will take 4 seconds to rotate complete 360 degrees. And under update, let's just rotate, transform dot rotate, I think, yeah, rotate or rotate around. Let's try this rotate around, and then we can use the vector axis. Okay, I'm going to use the vector 3 up, I think, the world, and okay, let's try this using this rotate speed and time, multiply by time dot delta time, and let's save this. Okay, we are going to use the rotate. It's obsolete. Okay, cool. So let's save this, and hopefully this work doesn't want to save, so I'm going to close the script and save it and go to Unity and rename this to coin, and let's put the coin script here. Okay, save the C and let's play this. Okay, it is rotating, but it's rotating very slow, or it's rotating on the x-axis, so we need to find which one will. Let's change this to local. Okay, so we need to rotate the forward axis, the Z, the blue one here. So okay, let's go back to our script here and reopen the coin script, and then change this to forward, and we can leave the value here because the rotation is quite fast. And let's try this again. There you go. Okay, so now we have a rotating coin. We can create a material, so I'm going to create a new folder, material, and then I'm going to create a new coin material. So I'm going to create a new material, name this coin material, and I'm going to change this to a yellow, a bit orangish color, and I'm going to make this bit metallic, maybe around 0.6, and quite smooth, and then assign this to this object here. Now with this coin, we need to make sure that its trigger is checked, and then we can add a new tag and name this coin, and we need to change the coin tag, and we can just duplicate this a couple times, and I'm going to move the first one, the second one, and then the third one, like this. So when we play this, we can see that our coin is now rotating, and we need to create some sort of detection to pick this up. Okay, so we can move this a bit down here, and I'm going to make this much further, each of the coin here, yeah, like that. I think that will be better. And save the scene, and now we need to create a collision detection. So since the coin is a trigger, the collider is such a trigger, then we need to create a new method, which is on trigger enter. So this works exactly like on collision enter, but it takes collider as a parameter instead of collision, and then we can check the collider tag to destroy or to execute a certain code. So I'm going to check if the collider.game object compare tag is coin, then we are going to destroy the coin first. So let's just create destroy and then put call game object as a target. Because why do we need to set to access the game object properties, since this call here, this variable call, is a collider. If we don't use the game object address here properties, it will only destroy the collider component of the coin here, just this one. So the object will stay, and what we want is actually to destroy the game object. So let's save this and let's just try this, see if it's working or not. So there you go. As you can see, we have picked up the coin, and we need to create a variable. So let's create a variable here, a public integer coin pick, and every time we pick the coin, we increase this variable by incrementing, or what this actually means is like this. And if you wonder what this actually means, it's actually that we are incrementing the variable. So it's more like this if we describe it. So we are increasing the coin pick variable by its value plus 1. So if it's 0, then it's going to be 1, and if it's 1, it's going to be 2, and so forth. So we are increasing, but we can shorten the code here by just using an increment sign like this, or if you're just incrementing by 1, you can use the double plus sign here. And now if we try to play this, we can see that we have a new variable which is coin pick, and now if we try to play this, we can see that it is increasing. Now we have 4 coin, and I'm going to create a simple particle effect. So let's just create a new particle under the player C#. Where is it? Effects, particle system. So we have a new particle system, and let's change some its of values here. Set the shape to sphere so it will spread, and then I'm going to change the rate over time to 0, and then I'm going to use a burst particle and change this value to a small one, say 15, and then I'm going to change the start speed to a low value, and I'm going to check this in our game view, start speed to maybe 1, and change the start size to a random between 2 constants, so from a smaller value to a 1 from 0.2, and set the lifetime to a very low one. So let's try this. Okay, I think I'm going to increase the speed but lower the lifetime here, and change the duration so we can see it more rapid. Yeah, like that. And I'm going to add a where is it? Oh, size over lifetime. So I'm going to enable this module here, and then under the curve I'm going to set this to a increase so from big value to a small one, as you can see, like this here. And let's change the start color to a something, a light orange, and I'm going to decrease the alpha a bit so it will be a bit transparent to a 180. Okay, something like that. Okay, so now let's disable play on awake, and then I'm going to disable looping. So let's name this coin particle effects. Now under the player we can edit the script. So let's go to the Visual Studio, and under the player movement I'm going to create a new variable which is a public particle system, and then I'm going to rename the variable coin effects. save this, and whenever we are picking the coin, I'm going to play that particle. So just use the variable of the particle, and then we can access its play method. So play, since this is method, we need to close it with set of parentheses, and then save this. And now when our script is updated, we need to put our effects to this particle here. So let's drag the coin particle effects and then put it as a particle system. So let's save this and try this again. Okay, so now there you go. Whenever we pick up the coin, we can see that our particle effects is playing, or it's emitting the particle, but only once. So that is the, since we our particle is set to burst only once, and then we have disabled the play on awake and also the looping, so it will just play the particle once whenever we're colliding. So it's very nice. It gives a sense that we are picking coin, but we need also to change the simulation space to world, so we can see that the particle is leaving like this. Because if we set this to local, the particle will follow the movement of the parent, so it will moving like that. So I think simulation space world works better like that. Okay, so I think that will be all for this episode, and I hope we will discuss about the enemies on the next episode. Okay, I hope you find this useful. Thanks for watching, and if you liked the tutorial, please subscribe. I see you in the next episode. Bye.